Hey guys, Jacqueline Fernandez here at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. We have Josh Planos standing by with the Better Business Bureau. Today we're going to chat about this new travel content bundle that they have on their website. It's bbb.org, and then from there it's /all/travel, and we'll show you that in a second. But basically we're talking about a lot of information for people who are, going on those summer trips. Maybe you're actually just getting back in town from July 4th. Maybe you skipped out on July 4th and now you're looking to head out. So just some tips to stay safe while you travel and what to do if something goes wrong. So without further ado, let me get Josh Planos here from the Better Business Bureau on our screen for you. Josh, again, thank you so much for joining us at the Alert Center and just keeping us up to date with some best summer travel tips for our viewers out there.
Absolutely, Jacqueline. It's nice to be here. We tried to design this under the premise that it'd be nice to have everything in one place, right? There's never really a bad time to go on a summer trip, but typically you need to kind of poke around different corners of the internet to get information on the before, during, and after. And the thought here was, what if it was all centralized, right? So this is a one-stop shop for everything that is travel related. What to know before you book your trip, best practices to consider during that trip, how to stay safe while traveling in an unfamiliar place, what steps to follow if something should go wrong. We'd like to think that every trip's going to go smooth and according to plan. But the reality is that things happen, right? And we, of course, also have our directory of BBB accredited businesses who cover the whole spectrum from if you need camping equipment to if you need to rent a car to if you're looking to go to a ski resort to if you're looking for a travel agent, right? So everything in one place. A lot of helpful information in here, though, particularly information that frankly was new to me. For instance, how to stay secure while traveling. Frequently, we kind of assume that things are going to go as optimistically as possible, and the reality
Right.
is we should probably take some protective measures to ensure that our accounts aren't getting compromised, and our billfolds are staying in our pockets.
Yeah, good call for sure. So talk to us a little bit about this first, I guess, little section on the website here. What to know before booking your next trip. Are there some tips here that you can recommend?
Yeah, I mean, so some of this will be general, right? But like having a
Right.
general sense of what your budget is going to look like, what the amount of money you want to spend, where you want to go. In a lot of cases, what scammers are particularly skilled at is targeting kind of generic search results, right? Because they want to appear highly on those returns, right? So if you're
Right.
just typing in best vacations, the reality is that some of those results are going to not be places you want to go and might not be places at all, right? So if you have like, say for instance, you want to travel to Europe, right?
Hmm.
Having narrowed down what country you want to frequent, what place you want to go, if you want to stay, in a hostel, if you want to stay in a hotel, things of that nature will be the more specific the better, right? Because scammers are really putting a lot of their budgets and their money toward more generic search results. So anyway, it'll walk you through the process of how far in advance you should really be planning such an excursion. Obviously, going to Des Moines takes considerably less time to plan than say going to Athens, right?
Right,
But
right,
you want to
exactly.
again know what experience you're signing up for before you start doing the planning. I think that's what a lot of those tips would point to.
Yeah, I love that. Do your homework. That's a major one here on your website. So let me just kind of head back here. So travel tips during the trip. So trips while you're away. So you've done your homework, Josh. Kind of like what's the next step here? So it's sort of like, okay, I'm excited. I'm either going on the other side of the Missouri River, or perhaps I'm going across the continent. So kind of take us through the BBB travel tips during the trip, if you will.
Yeah, so there's some of the more general tips, right? Like checking your security settings, ensuring you're not, doing terribly important work on public Wi-Fi, right? If you're
Right.
combing through your bank account, it might not be best to do that in, say, the airport terminal. You want to make sure that you're being as secure as possible with the information that you have available to you. Things like password protection, dual factor authentication are incredibly important, particularly when you're navigating in new spaces that could be compromised or spaces that might have different type of security settings. So this is a really good opportunity to keep your device settings up to date if you haven't already taken some of those steps through prompts from your provider.
Yeah.
One thing that I always need to be reminded of is only take what you need for the trip.
Right.
I am a absolute overpacker.
Oh no.
That is fine, but it also makes it a little bit inconvenient for others, right? And also
Right.
inconvenient in terms of having more information than you need for if you're going for a weekend, right? Not necessarily taking all of your digital devices with you if you can avoid that. Or
Sure.
if you can leave a credit card behind, for instance, such that say you lose the wallet or misplace the wallet, the pool, you're not out all of that account information. You're not starting from scratch. So that's a really good compass to kind of work off of.
Sure.
But also one thing that we talk pretty regularly about, Jacqueline, is knowing when and when not to post on social media. I
Right.
think
This is a
for
big
many who
one.
go
Yeah.
through, yeah, many who go on, kind of that tropical trip, they want
Right.
to tell their friends, and that's perfectly reasonable.
Right.
The reality is, though, that that information can be used against you if you do not have, certain privacy settings enabled on your accounts, right? I think
Yeah.
most of us do not have a big sign out front of our homes when we take trips to alert people that we're away from our home, right? And there are reasons for that. But when you post on social media, that is essentially what you are doing.
Right.
Particularly if your home address is tied in any way to your account. And before you knock it, you should really, look at your account and see whether or not that information is publicly available, because
Right. Definitely.
that's pretty concerning in those situations.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, not to be like overly concerned, but something we don't necessarily think about is, when our friends are kind of scrolling through our social media pages. I mean, maybe they leave it up on a public computer somewhere, and that's another way that that could kind of be out of our control, I would say.
Yeah, it's not always, intentionally nefarious activity
Right.
that gets in the way of a good travel experience. Sometimes it's just simply passing that information along through public channels, right? The
Right.
reality is there might be someone who is wedging their way into that communication stream who might not have your best intentions in mind. So, controlling what you can control is probably another way to say it. But
Yeah.
that information really, if you can, celebrate and share that information after the trip rather than during.
Yeah, love that one. Even though it's very tempting to say, "Look how cool I am! I'm in front of this palm tree." Gotcha. Okay, so back to the headquarters here. Staying safe while you travel. I mean, that's a huge one too. And earlier you mentioned, try not to overpack. I mean, for me, if I overpack, I'm always looking for different things, and I just feel like I don't have control, over what I brought for my own trip. So that's a big one. But any more tips for people staying safe out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, some of it too, and one thing that I think the content bundle does a fantastic job of is taking into account if you're traveling international, if you're traveling overseas, because there is a whole host of additional variables that you need to kind of work through, right?
Sure.
And I think we do a good job of identifying if you were to, let's say, lose your passport. What is that process like? Because the
Right.
last thing you want in that moment is to feel like you're starting completely from scratch with no general sense of where to go. So that I think is incredibly helpful. There's information on how to keep some of those more secure documents as secure as possible, while also knowing that you need them to have that international experience. That I think might be of use to some, particularly those who are perhaps more novices in terms of
Right.
international travel excursions.
Yeah, and I would say just from personal experience, I mean, always double check that expiration date on your passport, right? I mean, I would argue some of us, maybe we're not avid international travelers, but the one time that you need it, you may not think, hey, I mean, even 6 months or so, when you're at that expiration date or nearing that expiration date, rather, you should really kind of go in and just kind of have that updated, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I believe that's part of the kind of what to know before booking your trip.
Right.
Part of the bundle is you really don't want to start from scratch if you can avoid it, right? Particularly if all that's required is a couple of clicks of the mouse and maybe some updated contact information to make sure that your passport is still valid, because that process does take some time, right? And
Oh,
again,
definitely.
to your point, Jacqueline, this is not something that you need to be thinking about all the time. But in the one moment or the one of a handful of moments in your life when it's essential, it's really important to have those some of those foundational elements and lessons in your back pocket, so you know
Right.
how to navigate that as smoothly as possible.
Right, and the more you practice, I mean, the better prepared you'll be for the next trip and the following trip, etc. So that's always good stuff there. So here's something. So, you've done all your homework, and then, what do you do if something goes wrong, Josh? Any tips for us there? I know you have that
Yeah,
on your
we do
website
have.
as well.
It runs the gamut, I would say. I mean, we have the exact steps to follow if, say, that passport or wallet is stolen, to if you get arrested. And again, most of us are not signing up to get arrested on
Right.
trips. However, it's very nice to know what steps to follow if you are put into that predicament,
Sure.
or if a friend gets sick, if you get sick and you're traveling internationally, what does
Hmm.
that look like? If you lose your credit card and you're reliant upon that payment information to carry out the experience. Even if your package won't fit in your suitcase. So really, the tips run the gamut, and I think it's fantastic to at least have a general sense of what to expect if something does go off plan. Because as much as we'd like to avoid that, as much as a certain amount of planning can avoid a lot of this, the reality is that things do get in the way, and occasionally you do need to adapt and make impromptu decisions. So this is where having some of these lessons and some of this information is really essential.
Oh, definitely. And I would say, and as long as you have an internet connection, you can always access bbb.org online and, hit up this travel headquarters link that you guys made accessible for everybody. So that's really great too. Anything else you wanted to chat about, Josh?
Just if you have any insights you'd like to offer, if there's anything else you'd like to have incorporated into the bundle, we want to make this as useful a resource for you as possible. So
Oh,
we
great.
we
Good
are
ideas. Yeah.
absolutely willing to take input. And our hope is, if you like it, let us know, right? We'd love to
Right.
know how it's being used. If it helps you, plan your next trip, please feel free to reach out because, a lot of hard work goes into these things.
Mhm.
Not just, I know they look shiny at the end of the project, but we'd love to know if it's of use to you.
Oh, sure, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Good advice there. And you can always reach out to me directly if you want, and I can get in touch with Josh, or just get in touch with me on Facebook if you can, or Twitter, or and Josh is easily accessible with the Better Business Bureau as well. So, Josh, again, thank you so much for your time and for all the tips and resources we have available right at our fingertips to make sure that people, do keep these things in mind when they are traveling during the summer months and even into fall and winter, as Christmas now is less than about 6 months away, believe it or not. So travel season is starting in full swing. And Josh, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll see you later, Josh. Okay, so there you have it. This is kind of the 411 from Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau on some travel content information they have. They have it all laid out on their headquarters page, bbb.org/all/travel. And it's literally, here, I'll kind of take you back over there now real quick. It's literally all laid out very easily for you to kind of take a look and kind of figure out, what you're interested in looking up and being aware of. So what to know before booking, travel tips during the trip, staying safe while you travel, and then, something goes wrong, passport issues, maybe you have a kerfuffle with law enforcement or something like that. The BBB has that all nicely laid out for you to take a look at as well. Now, before we go, I always like to take a look outside, see what's going on out there. Here's a live look from our Blackstone camera. It looks like it's shaping up to be a beautiful day. A few clouds out there, some sunshine. I don't think it's going to be terribly hot, but of course, as we know, it is the Midwest, so things could change here in the Heartland. Taking a live look here at Jean Leahy Mall. Gosh, that grass looks so beautiful. Very welcoming. Looks like they're set up for a concert out there, but I'm not exactly sure what is happening. But still, just a great shot for you this afternoon. And then, ooh, I like this one too. Here's a live look at 144th and Dodge. Traffic seemingly flowing smoothly there. You can really just see the beautiful clouds in the sky, the sunshine poking through. Hopefully this beautiful day will indeed stay beautiful. Now, before we go though, I do just always kind of want to remind you, so, if you are interested in finding out more information on what's happening in our community, you can always head to our website. That's WOWT.com. We do have the latest news for you here available on our website. Here's our top story at the moment. Officials warn of swimming at Nebraska and Iowa lakes due to E. coli. That's something we reported last week as well. So something to take note of. Then we have our top headlines, etc. So I'll kind of leave that up to you to take a look. But don't forget to head there to our website. We always have the latest information available for you. Now, in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me at the Alert Center. I'm Jacqueline Fernandez, and we'll be seeing you with our first broadcast, 1 to 3, with our own Dave Zavolinsky. Until then, have a wonderful day.